What's going on? It's Brian Soscia. Of course, you want to hit me on Twitter, Chat Wrestling, ask questions at TheBrianSoscia, at TheBrianSoscia, at the Brian Soscia. That would be me, Brian Soscia. And you know, WWE always takes good care of us. We have a lot of relationships inside the wrestling community, so it's always fun to get beneath the mat with everybody, especially this guy. This guy has been on our show, I think, the most out of anybody, and so he holds the record. He's like the champ now, and he's here to discuss a lot of stuff we'll talk about, but mostly Tough Enough today. The host, Chris Jericho. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How many times have I been on the show? What's the record?
I think this is your fifth time, which you beat out. I don't want everybody to start chanting, thank God nobody's here when I say this, but I think you beat out CM Punk. I think he was the guy before you, so you're the record holder, and we appreciate you being here today, man.
Well, we always try.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that, Chris. You know, I've said before, I've told you, I watched your career. ECW here in Philly. Before that, and maybe during that, some Japanese stuff, some Lucha Libre stuff, WCW. I've watched you climb, and I think you're a great host for Tough Enough because you've been through it. You've been down and dirty. You've been through it all. But before we get to that, I want to talk SummerSlam. Did you see it?
No, I was on a plane flying in, so didn't see it. I heard some stuff about it, but yeah, it's like, you know, you do so much when we're on the road and you're working hard, so when I'm not actually at an event, I'm really kind of detached from it.
Checked out, yeah.
You know, yeah, so I have other things that I'm working on and having to worry about. So when, you know, whether it's SummerSlam or whether it's Raw or whether it's a live event, I kind of leave that up to the pros.
All right, got it. But you know what? I'm sure you heard about the match. Main event, SummerSlam. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. Looked like Taker tapped out, but then Brock Lesnar won. A disputed finish. Now, I was leaving the arena. Some fans were complaining, some were upset, some didn't care. But for the most part, I think there's a lot of confusion, and some people just confused and kind of upset, but I don't see why. I want to see what happens. How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, not every movie has a happy ending. You know, I remember leaving Empire Strikes Back and being devastated. It ends, you know, Luke gets his hand cut off and Han Solo ends up in a block of carbonite and Darth Vader kind of, you know, wins and runs away laughing at everybody. Of course, it's part two of a trilogy, so if you take it at face value, it might not be the ending that you want. But like you said, there's more to the story, and that's kind of what WWE is telling stories with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you can't always get what you want, if I can quote Mick Jagger, every single night. So if people left kind of feeling sad, tough luck. That's what it is sometimes. There's ups and downs to every story that you watch and every story that you read. It's not so much leaving and not finishing the book, though. You don't just leave after chapter 25 if there's, you know, 37 chapters.
Yeah.
You read the whole thing, and then you find out what you think when it's all said and done. So I would assume that this is probably just another step in the entire Brock Lesnar-Undertaker story. And if you didn't like it last night, you know, shut up and keep watching.
I agree. I was saying to my wife when we left that, you know, I think people are losing touch with the fact that it's wrestling. And before, everyone had such a voice, which is cool, they have a voice. They have such a voice now that they almost get impatient. And I understand they want to see good stuff, but sometimes they get so impatient they're going to ruin their own story. So I'm excited to see what happens. And you want to talk about stories. I want to move to Tough Enough now because that is a very interesting story. I got to be honest with you, Chris. I didn't watch the first, 5 or 6 episodes. I watched them all on DVR, binge watched them, and I was addicted. I couldn't wait until the next show. I think that when you guys lost Hogan and put The Miz in, I think that helped change the show a little bit. I think for the better. I think there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I'm wondering, you as host, you've been doing this for years. You've been doing this gig, and you're very good at it. I feel like sometimes you hear, or you can kind of tell some of the roster guys that put all the work in like you did, they might be a little jealous. Was there any jealousy? Or are you cool with them getting this opportunity, just getting a shot? Is there a little bit of jealousy that you had to go through all that stuff?
Not at all. I don't see why there would be any jealousy. Everybody comes into the business somehow, and I don't really understand where the jealousy would come from because they haven't really gotten anything. All they've gotten is yelled at and been put under a microscope from the moment they showed up to compete in Tough Enough, whether they were in the top 40 or the top 13, now down to the top 4. There's really nothing to be jealous of. Okay, the winner gets a $250,000 contract, but there's been a lot of work going into that.
Yep.
10 weeks of training, and even though all of it wasn't in the ring, there was a lot of stuff they had to do, you know, swimming across a lake in alligator-infested swamp, or going into burning buildings, or doing obstacle courses, or all this sort of things. And you might be saying, well, what does that have to do with wrestling? It has everything to do with wrestling because it's all about the discipline of whether you have what it takes to make it in this business. I remember when I was training, we used to have to run backwards for a mile. Why? Why run backwards for a mile? just to see if you could do it.
The right mindset, yeah.
You had the discipline to do it. If you could take orders, if you had any type of attitude, you were gone. And that's kind of what we did with Tough Enough. We weeded out the people that thought it would be really easy, and the people that thought it would be so simple as just get in the ring and run the ropes and do backflips. That's not how it works. So I think to be jealous of them, I would not want to have come into business the way these guys did, because they've been under the microscope right off the bat. And I don't know if I could have handled it, getting yelled at and, having people, online tear you apart and this and the other thing. These people are very, very green. They've only been doing this for 10 weeks. Let's see what Chris Jericho was like after 10 weeks of training. I wasn't as good as these guys are, I'll tell you that. So it has been a really cool evolution to see how everybody has improved, which ones have stayed, which ones have gone, and not just for the competitors, but for the show itself. We've never seen a show like this, half reality, half live TV show with the world voting. It's a worldwide vote.
Yep.
So it took a while to kind of get a handle on it. But like you said, I think over the last 4 or 5 episodes, we've really got the flow of the show down.
Yes.
And really kind of came up with how we need to do this. And it's been a huge success, especially over the last month, in my opinion.
All right, well, I want to take a look at some of the people left on the show. First of all, got to talk about ZZ. I watch ZZ, and when I'm watching, I'm laughing at myself because I always think, do you think he tweets Lash LaRue or contacts Lash LaRue for advice? Should I dye my hair red? Should I be the Raging Cajun? I mean, is he stealing his gimmick? What's going on? Is Lash upset?
I think that you're probably the only person in America that remembers who Lash LaRue is. I just remember his catchphrase was, "I guarantee it."
Yeah, he's like a cartoonist or something. Now he's gonna be so excited that I mentioned his name. This is gonna be great.
There you go. Yeah, he's gonna get a big sales for his cartoons.
That's right. He's actually very talented. I've seen some of his stuff. So I thought that was interesting seeing ZZ coming in. Look, here's the thing, and you tell me what you think. You're the pro here. I'm just analyzing this. I know that a lot of people think he's fat, lazy. I think that I saw that some of the judges did some online content. I mean, Booker T walked out of the room. He was so upset about ZZ being terrible. The thing I'll say about ZZ is this, and you tell me what you think. Whether he wins or not, I just think he's going to do something, because I think there's a spot for him with his big personality, and I think what he gets, and I don't know how to even say this, but I guess it would be, he's a worker. He knows how to work people, because that's, if you think about it, what the industry's built off of since day one, making people love or hate you. And he's got all these people loving him. And when I say the word worker, everyone's like, oh, Dean Malenko. No, it's not that. It's not always that. It's not just what you do in the ring. It's how you say things, how you talk people into the building, to me. And I think, let's be honest, I like ZZ's personality, but I think he's a lot smarter than people give him credit for, because, I mean, he's a fat guy, young fat guy, and he's staying in this competition, could win $250,000. So he's doing something right.
Well, I mean, you just said it. He is a worker. I believe that, too. I think everything he says, he carefully thinks it out. I think he's got this really, he does have that X factor, that charisma. You can't really pinpoint it, but people do like him, and he's always got the right thing to say in the right situation. And that's the reason why he's in the Final Four.
Yep.
Yeah, his cardio and his physical transformation hasn't been there like it has for some of the other competitors, especially Josh, who's lost like 35 pounds.
I know. He's amazing, Josh. I think Josh has a good look to him, too. But the one thing about Josh, I want to see if you notice this. When the show first started, I didn't care about Josh. Josh was in the background. I couldn't remember that guy with the long hair and the bun, I used to say. And then as soon as he did his, I can't do it, that stupid noise, I said to my friend, I called him, I said, he could be a winner because the fans are going to take to that. That's going to get him over. I wanted to tweet him, keep doing that, because I knew the fans would like that. Did you know right away when he did that?
Something he's been doing since he was a teenager. He mentioned that on my podcast this week. It does make him stand out, and there is a real personality with Josh. I found with Josh and Amanda, they were kind of late bloomers personality-wise. Around episode 5 or 6, they started coming out of their shells, and you could see these two have great personalities, and they could be perfect for the business. Because at first, I think, once again, no one really wants to stand out in a bad way. No one wants to say the wrong thing. No one wants to get kicked off for doing something that the fan base might think is stupid. Now that they're in the final days, the final shows, I think they were just like, screw it. We're going to go all out.
Go for it.
And just go for it, and just be ourselves. I think once Amanda was saved by Miz, and people started booing her, I think she embraced that. And
that helped her.
Became a little bit of the heel of the show and actually had a little bit of a real character there. So all of them have started to figure out that you have to be a big personality. And Sarah Lee, she's not a big personality, but once again, much like ZZ, she's got whatever it is that people just like. She's got that down-home vibe that people like her. And even though she's probably the least technically proficient of the 4, she's probably got a good chance to win. Actually, I think all 4 of them could win, and I think all 4 of them could actually get signed and go to NXT, because they're all really good in different ways.
I agree. I think that everyone is going to come out of this with something. I think they could actually do something with ZZ where they show him training online and show the fan, like, look, this guy's one of you and he's making it. I think it would work. Quick questions about former Tough Enough competitors. Patrick, the guy that was kind of trained, a little bit of an attitude. How did you feel about him? Because, I wanted to see him do well, but he was kind of smug. I didn't like him. Kind of like a smart Mark, Hogan called him.
Well, I mean, he is, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that it was a surprise to him when he got eliminated. And I think that's another guy that, give him some time. I think he's only 19 years old.
Okay.
I think he'll have a chance to maybe come back and maybe get another tryout, do a little bit more.
All right, last one, I'll let you go. I wanted to ask you about, I know Chelsea came in as an alternate, and from what I understand, she had some training with your buddy Lance Storm. So was there any time when you got to speak with her? Did you feel bad when she got eliminated since you have that friendship with Lance and Lance helped her out, or you just not really care? You don't have time for it?
I kind of didn't care. Not in a rude way, but, I never really got a chance to talk to Chelsea. She was like that one pope in between Pope John Paul II. We never really got to know her. I think she was there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then she was gone. So my interactions with her were very minimal. And once again, if she trained with Lance, and she's got a good foundation, and
she'll do well.
She'll stick with it.
Last thing I want to ask you before I let you go is I keep watching the show, and when they get their 30-second pleas, I go nuts because I feel like they should be cutting almost a promo to the people trying to get saved, why they want to be saved, not so much giving their job resume or, looking pathetic. Like, get into character. It always works better. That's what ZZ's been doing. And I feel like Josh is starting to understand that.
Best 30-second plea we saw was last week where Josh took out the lolly, talked into it. I mean, absolutely. Once again, these people are very green and don't have television experience or broadcast experience.
Yep.
If that was me, I'd do a breakdance. I'd run in the crowd. I'd do anything. But they still don't know what they can and can't do.
Definitely.
But now that the Final Four are in this position, they got a chance tomorrow night to have a match with Cesaro, with Alicia Fox. They've come up with their own ring names, ring gear, ring music. They have to cut a 30-second promo. We're going to see who grasps it the best, who understands the most after 10 weeks, and whoever does will probably win that $250,000 contract.
I agree, and it's going to be great when they do the live matches. Cesaro, Alicia Fox, and I was thinking if they're fans of the show and they watch it and they have a favorite, couldn't they screw it up and make somebody look really bad?
It's not their job to choose a favorite. It's their job to make all four of those competitors to look good.
And that's what the show's about, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's why we got the two that we did. Those guys are there, Alicia and Cesaro, to make the Final Four look good.
I can't wait, man.
If they do what they know how to do, I think they're going to look good.
That's going to be good. I'm excited about it, too. It'll be this Tuesday, which is tomorrow night on the USA Network. You can check that out. Chris, thanks for visiting with us. Always love when you stop by or call in. Let us know what's going on in the world of Chris Jericho. Stay safe out there with whatever you do, because I know you do a lot of stuff, and we look forward to talking again very soon. Don't be a stranger.
All right, man. Yeah, I want that record. I want it to stick. I don't care about any of my other records.
No, heck with them.
Soscia show is...
All right, stop right there. I think you just said either Soscia's show, which I can deal with that, but did you say the Soscia show? Come on, I get the cute name. We get beneath the mat with you on the Soscia Network. I was telling you about how I hate when people mess that up, so you're doing it on purpose. I know what you're doing, Chris.
Was that hilarious?
Yeah, it was great. Well, on that note...
Maybe the sixth time I'll know what show this is.
Stop. I'm trying to put the wraps on this. Thank you so much for calling in. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you, pal.
I appreciate it, man. I really enjoyed it.
I'm a co-sign on that one. I had a good time, too, man. Always do when you call in, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.
You got it, bro. Anytime. So, there goes Chris Jericho. He's good as always. Like I said, I think this is the 5th time, might be the 6th time he's been on the show. So if you want to check out his past interviews, we get in depth about how he thinks that the company's going to be run once Vince is gone and some of the old ones. And, Jericho is very open, a great guest to have. I think we did a 25-minute interview one time. It's really good. You can catch him on YouTube. A lot of them under Beneath the Mat DOT.com. All one word. Search that on YouTube for now. It's Beneath the Mat DOT.com. Join the thousands of other subscribers for free, and also the millions, literally millions, that have viewed the different videos. A lot of good stuff up there. Christmas with Dolph Ziggler, Christmas with CM Punk if you're in the mood, me fighting with Paul Heyman, interviewing John Cena, Hulk Hogan. Everybody you can think of's up there, and we're adding more all the time. So you find that, and you can subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so you can help me make this into more of a full-time job, because it's what I love to do. Just talking to wrestling fans, being a fan, and doing all these interviews and podcasts and appearances and whatnot. I really appreciate everything you guys do and that you listen. You like what I'm doing. So join the thousands that have subscribed and the millions that have viewed what we're doing. Feels good to even say that. Thanks for your time. It's Brian Soscia. Until next time we get beneath the mat, stay well.